Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to everyone who are in this webinar today, realizing the time zones of our participants from all across the globe. It's very exciting to see everyone's interest. And my name is Donna, and I'm one of the student recruitment officers at the University of Tasmania. And I welcome you to our webinar today, and thank you so much for your time. So today we are meeting across Lutruwita, Tasmania, Aboriginal land, sea and waterways online. And I acknowledge with deep respect the traditional owners of this land, the Palawa people. So just a bit of housekeeping before we start our session. Feel free to type in any of your questions on the chat box, and Anne-Marie and I will endeavor to address your questions after our formal presentation. So today we are going to talk about nursing in Tasmania, a unique experience. So we know that nurses work across a range of areas in their career. One thing that Tasmania offers is a diverse healthcare setting with many different requirements of our healthcare professional. So join our undergraduate course coordinator, Anne-Marie Brown, as she details what life as a nurse is like in Tasmania. So just to give you a little bit of a background, Anne-Marie is also a practicing nurse, as well as an academic at the School of Nursing at Utah. So over to you, Anne-Marie.
Thanks, Donna. Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. And look, I'm really honoured to represent University of Tasmania, but also to represent my profession, or my profession of nursing, that I have been currently a registered nurse in Australia for about 38 years. So to have that kind of introduction, I'm very honoured. I'm also very honoured to say that, yes, I am a registered nurse still, and I maintain my current practice working in one of the hospitals here in Launceston, which is the second largest town in Tasmania. So I also have been working here in Tasmania now for the last 2 years, and I'm currently undertaking my PhD looking at enablers and barriers to high school students undertaking nursing as a profession in Australia. So I am a student as well, so I have both perspectives. I also have 4 children. 3 of them have been students. So I understand having students away, and I understand about you all looking at where would I like to go to get the best I can. And I believe telling you this, that I have been now at University of Tasmania for the last 2 years, and it's now my home. It's where I really want to be. It's a place where you will learn, and it's a place that we can offer, as Donna said, a large and a wide range of experiences for youth, both within our state, out of our state, and internationally. So we're going to go through a few slides, and I am more than happy to answer questions, and we can leave those to the end so that you can ask whatever you would like to ask. Okay, firstly, we'll say, why are we unique? Why is Tasmania Tasmania? Firstly, to say that we are a very small population in comparison to most other states. We only have about 540,000 people living here on the island. We are very much a small state of Australia, but we also means that we are very rich in what we have. We are a separate state, but we also have a lot of areas in ours that we are being quite self-sufficient in what we have. We are a small number of people compared to the mainland, and we're located 240 kilometres south of the Australian mainland across Bass Strait. We're the 26th largest island in the world, and we are known in Tassie to having the cleanest air in the world, which is really important, plus some of the best scenery and the best history that you'll ever find in any other state of Australia. So that makes Tasmania as itself quite a unique area to be. One thing we do have down here is we have an aging population. People come, and that's a positive thing. People come to Tasmania and they stay. Why do they stay? Because of the great things about Tasmania that we have. We have a fairly low health literacy rate as well. So part of what we do as nurses here in Tasmania is we actually are dealing with the community, educating the community to enhance their literacy, enhance health literacy, and to ensure that we're getting across the word about healthy aging, about being healthy within our environment, and utilising the environment that we have to protect what we have and also improve our health overall. We have a very high demand of nurses in Tasmania. Tasmania is a very important area, and very important that we grow our own nurses within our state, and that our nurses are given such a great opportunity here. We like to have nurses in high demand as they are. We like to keep our nurses here in Tasmania, and we offer nurses a great amount of variety of specific places within our state, areas such as primary health care, hospitals, community health centres, public hospitals, private hospitals, mental health, aged care, GP practices, justice health. And we'll go through some of those as we come. But we are very unique. We are one of the only states that has all of those opportunities within our state, and within a short distance. You can travel from the top of Tasmania to the bottom of Tasmania within one day and return if you wanted to, and from the side to the side. So from east to west, north to south, it is something that is gettable, which makes us very, very attractive when it comes, as the travel is so much better. The travel is easy for us, and we are very unique in that regard. Just go through to the next one. Thanks, Donna. Okay, why are we a unique island state with a unique healthcare? As you probably realise, Tasmania, here at UTAS, we are the only university here in Tasmania. Competition with other universities is not here. We have, therefore, access to the whole of our state within community health placements, whatever placements that we want to send students to, opportunities that students may have. We have also a greater deal of support from outside in our community. Our hospitals support our graduates. Our hospitals and our community health centres, they also support our universities. We teach our course across in Tasmania as well as in Sydney, and we'll talk about those. Basically, we have in Tasmania, we have two campuses that will be looking at international students. Here in Launceston, which is the north of Tasmania, we will have a large campus here. We will have the undergraduate and postgraduate teaching of nursing. And we also have Hobart, which is the southern part of our state, which also has a school of nursing connected as well to our northern partners. Nursing is undertaken on both campuses in a variety of different methods, and we're going to go through later in the presentation talking about the types of methods and the types of teaching styles that we have within our School of Nursing here at UTAS. So we have Launceston, we approximately have about 300 first years, and down in Hobart, approximately 180 to 200 first year students are taken each year. Those students will go through the whole of their Tasmanian time during their clinical placements, and I'll go through about some of the other placements they have that opportunity. We also have another campus in Sydney at a place called Rozelle. Roselle's close to the city of Sydney. It's in close proximity to the harbour and all the other amenities that are required and wanted by students. So we also have UTAS sitting there as well as UTAS here. Students have the opportunity to go between clinical placements in Tasmania and in Sydney, which is great because that means they'll be able to get a variety of both areas if they choose to, which is great. Here in Tasmania, we are very much aligned with the Tasmanian Health Service. And that is a health service that's run independently, that each health service will run, even on the mainland, will be run independently. Within our THS, as we say, that they will offer placements to students in a variety of areas, do rotations during their placements whilst they're here, and have the students have a great experience in rural, regional, remote areas, as well as our large acute hospitals, in mental health areas, both privately and publicly, community health centres, child and family health, within one THS, which is really important. It means that once you actually are working in one of those areas, you actually comply to the requirements in every area, because we are still maintained aligned within what we call our THS or our Tasmanian Health Service. Also, with that THS, we also have our private sector, and students will go to placement in our private sector as well, so that students are placed in private hospitals as well as those public hospitals, allowing you to get a good variety and a good feel of more than one system of health delivery within our state. We also have Justice Health, which is working in the justice system, in the jails, etc. We send students to those areas. GP practices, which are fairly aligned closely with Calvary and our private health providers, as well as our Tasmanian Health Service. From the photos that you've seen here, these are beautiful backgrounds where our students will work and also undertake their clinical placements in a variety of areas, especially in those rural areas of Tasmania as well. So the opportunities are far and wide that you will find in a small state that is able to be travelled, and therefore you will be able to work with the people in your community, which to me is really very important. We then also remember that you are coming to a state that has a variety of things for you to do, which makes us very unique. We are very aligned with our community here. So therefore, you as a student have an opportunity to be aligned with the community and join many sporting clubs, be involved with other parts of the community than just undertaking your nursing degree here at UTAS. Pop through to the next slide. As I've said before, that we are aligned very much with the Tasmanian healthcare sector. They become our major employer and our major taker of our students. It is unique. We also have islands that sit off Tasmania, and we send students to placements on the islands within the range of Tasmania. The beauty of those is that we currently pay for students to go there. We offer accommodation in a variety of clinical placements for students. That is all covered by the University of Tasmania. International students are placed in a variety of areas, as I've said before: public, private, metropolitan, which is close to our areas around our larger hospitals, such as in Launceston and in the Northwest Coast, as well as down in Hobart. But they are also placed in a variety of other areas, as in regional areas, remote areas, over near Cradle Mountain, if people have heard of those areas, Queenstown on the Northwest Coast, and down into the Huon Valley in quite regional and remote areas, giving the students a wide variety and a really good experience that they'll be able to utilise for their future practices. It will teach students to be able to critically think within their domains of working within their scope of practice. It allows students to feel comfortable in a variety of different particular areas, and in areas that they think, oh, I actually wouldn't mind working in those areas. It's giving you an opportunity to go to places that you potentially would not be able to offer in areas such as your larger, bigger universities and larger teaching hospitals. We do have the larger, plus we also have the smaller, plus we have the regional and remote, which is really, really important. It is a unique experience. The hospitals also in New South Wales that you have an opportunity to go to. As I've said before, we have places here in Tasmania. Students have also the ability to go to our large teaching hospitals in Sydney, such as the St Vincent's Hospital, where they do open heart transplants, the Royal Prince Alfred Hospital, which is also a large hospital in Sydney. If students wish to go to our smaller regional hospitals, we look into Western New South Wales, out to places such as Dubbo and Broken Hill. They also have opportunities to go interstate, into places such as Alice Springs. Ayers Rock is close by, Darwin, Palmerston North. All of those areas are wonderful opportunities for students to build their little bag of tricks, that you would say, to be able to utilise in a variety of different areas, and areas that you'll be able to use those skills to their transfer to any other areas that you would like. We also now have international experience for students to attend, which is wonderful within your 840 hours of placement. We have placements currently in Nepal, in India, and in Vietnam that we have available for students to go to. Those placements are counted part of what we call our professional experience placement, which means that those placements count as part of your PEP hours, or your hours that are added to your clinical placement. When you put those things on your CV, you look wonderful in front of a new employer that you wish to go to, because you have experience of international, you have experience of regional, remote, and a larger teaching hospital. So UTAS offers you so many varieties of different areas that will really enhance your opportunity to obtain a position in a variety of teaching areas. From that, I would say, is a wonderful, absolute wonderful experience and opportunity for you all. Pop over to the next one. Thanks, Donna. Now, we'll go through some of the, what I call in Australia, the nitty gritty, or the information about what is our course about. There are 24 units across our program, and it can be done what we call an accelerated or a standard degree. So what we mean by the beauty of an accelerated program, which really is very, very interesting, is that you can undertake your degree within 2 years. Do your 24 units in 2 years, which means it actually is very busy. You undertake your 4 units each semester, and you do them in nursing session 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6, so that they are done over a 2-year period, very busy within that time to undertake your 24 units. It is also done that our units are done in intensive mode. What does intensive mode mean? An intensive mode is a new form of delivery where we actually have the benefit of face-to-face teaching as well as the benefit of learning online. Now, okay, I think, students say, oh, I don't like learning online. This actually gives you both. Students are given intensives, or what we call week-long intensive programs. Sometimes it's 2 days, sometimes it is 1 full week. Students are on campus where they do all their undertaking, all of their practical skills, tutorial sessions will be taught in that time. During the other parts of their time that they're not on campus, they will be doing webinars or web conferences, as well as working through online Milo sites, so that there will be activities for students to do that will enhance their learning, that will prepare them well to come into their program for their intensive programs. We've just had an intensive here last week, and the students were on campus for 18 hours each for their second year of one of their intensives. How many intensives would you do per semester or between the nursing sessions? Most are 3 to 4 intensives throughout a period of 12 weeks. The 12-week period that the student would also undertake would also have their clinical placement, or what we say is their PEP, which is their professional experience placements. So during their degree, you will undertake 840 hours of clinical placement, or PEP, throughout your degree, but that is also inclusive of your 12-week semesters. So students will be here around 3 to 4 times, depending on their unit that they're undertaking, plus we'll also have a clinical placement or PEP unit of approximately 3 weeks, or can be up to 7 weeks, depending on the year of what they are doing. It is fairly heavily weighted to the third year or the final 2 semesters of your degree, where your clinical placements are increased and running in 5 weeks and 7 weeks, because they're the times you're actually preparing yourself to be a registered nurse. And we like you to be in a placement, one placement, which you will go for the whole of your time, because while you are there for 5 weeks, you are becoming a member of the team. You are, in a term, what we term as belonging with that particular clinical placement. You then feel comfortable. You will then produce very good work. You'll undertake patient care and learn to be a really good, safe registered nurse in Australia. So during your intensives, as I said, sometimes are 10 hours, some 16 hours, 2 to 3, 4 times per semester. So that's when you think you've got 3 semesters per year, that is a fair number of face-to-face work that you'll have. You finish around early December. In that first or second week of December, your 3rd session will be finished, which allows you to have time off over Christmas to either visit Tasmania or to go home, visit family, and then you come back to uni around the 2nd to 3rd week of the university of January. So you are getting now a little bit of time off, which is good, because we understand students need some downtime. They also need some time to feel that they want to see their family. Some of you may like to work whilst you're undertaking your degree, because that's also an important thing, that students, whilst they're studying their undergraduate Bachelor of Nursing, you are able to work under your visa requirements. You can work whilst you're here, and some of you may choose to work in some of the aged care facilities as such whilst you're undertaking your degree, as you're getting further along into the second and third year of your degree. So when you have your intensives, we have classes of around about 20 to 24 students per class, and you'll have a lecturer with you going through your clinical skills in our new nursing laboratories, where students will have time for practicing on up-to-date mannequins, discussing with their family, their peers, the colleagues they're working with, the academic staff, working with scenarios so that they're able to learn the skills and put them in context of what you are doing, so that they're all applied to your clinical knowledge, looking at what we just say is your clinical learning and applying your theory to your practice. So that to me is really important, and it's very important for you to have a good understanding of what you are doing and why you are undertaking those skills, and that's very important for you as a registered nurse in Australia. You undertake 840 hours of PEP or clinical placement in our new program, and that, as I said, is divided over the 2 years that you have, which means that you will undertake your placement in second semester of first year, in third semester, and then you'll take them in the second year of your degree, in the first, second, and third semesters. So you do have a fair amount of PEP or clinical placement, is what we would say it, through your degree. The only time you don't undertake a PEP unit is in the first year of your degree, but that still makes you come in and you're doing laboratory work, learning your clinical skills, interacting with your other students, doing web conferencing, online work, will be all encompassed in those particular sessions. Some of the other study requirements that you will need when you come to UTAS, like any other degree that you would undertake in nursing, you require a uniform to undertake your placement, which you will wear proudly as a University of Tasmania uniform. Those are obtained on campus at the campuses that you'll be working and undertaking any of your intensives on. There are vaccinations that are a requirement, and we're happy to go through those once you commence at the university. That also, not having a clinical placement in that first semester gives you time to get all those vaccinations sorted so that you're ready to undertake your clinical placement ready for your second semester. We have some mandatory training and some basic life support, which are mandatory requirements of the Tasmanian Health Service and also the Health Service in New South Wales. So we're very happy to assist you to do those, and we offer those courses here at University of Tasmania and allow you to do those here. We also have, textbooks are required. A lot of our textbooks that we're utilising are online as ebooks now, so that you'll be able to obtain those and get those at home, or you may be able to have those if you are one of those students that happens to like to have a book. When some students do, I can tell you my own daughters really like to have books. So if that's what you want, there are books here that you can purchase yourself as well. So you have access to all of those whilst you're actually on campus, or we will be able to assist you to get that, find that information about that. As I said, it's great. You have an opportunity in a state, and you also have opportunities to go out of our state to undertake further placement, and you also have opportunities to go internationally, which is absolutely beyond anybody's wildest dreams to be offered those placements. Okay, thanks, Donna. Would you like to ask a few questions on the next slide?
Certainly. Thank you so much for that very rich information, Anne-Marie. It doesn't look like you've been here for just 2 years. It looks like more than like 10 years with the amount.
Oh, look, thanks, Donna. I can tell you, I love being a nurse. I love being a nurse. I have been a nurse since I'm 18. I'm 56 years old now, and I have never had a day without a job. And that's the first thing I always say to my students. I have never had a day without a job, and I still love what I do now as much as I did the day I started nursing. My background is in the emergency department, and I still love every day I go to work. So if I can put one of those things into one student, I am over the moon.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Marie. You're the best person for the job. So
thank you.
So we've got for this slide, we've got some frequently asked questions. And the first question is, can I apply for recognition for prior learning if I have already commenced study at another international institution?
Okay, look, and I'm not saying that going from another institution is, it is unfortunate that we cannot offer RPL, or we cannot offer that, we're not available to do that at the University of Tasmania. But as I'm saying that, any work that you have done prior to coming in any area is enhancing for any position that you come to the University of Tasmania. It is great that you have studied before. Sometimes you can apply that knowledge that you have learnt to other areas, but unfortunately, University of Tasmania is not available to offer that for you as RPL.
Mhm. Thank you. But if they completed any unit within Australia, it will be credited, right?
That is correct. So if you've been to another university and undertaking, and I can tell you, I saw a student this morning from Nepal who has done 2 units at another university and then was credited those because they matched the units within the University of Tasmania, and they were then given credit for those units that they had undertaken. So, which was great news. So that it meant that their study that they had undertaken was not any waste whatsoever. But all I will always tell you, it doesn't matter what study you do, it is always of benefit to you, whether that gives you RPL or whether it doesn't. It is always benefit to you.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Just a follow-up question on that.
Yeah.
What are those students who have completed enrolled nursing course in Australia? Can you please explain further regarding the recognition for
Okay.
the course?
If we have a student that has undertaken their diploma of nursing at TAFE or an institution within Australia, students are given credit for that diploma of nursing as it's taken in Australia only. If they have undertaken that program here, they will be given 2 semesters off and will commence in nursing study period 3, allowing them to complete their degree within 4 nursing study periods, which is really great. If they wish to go full time, they could go part time if they chose to, if they wanted to work at the same time, and still work whilst they were undertaking their degree. So they would receive a full 4 sessions only to complete their whole degree and 2 nursing sessions off, which is great.
That's great to hear, Anne-Marie. So we'll proceed on with the next question. So if our nursing completed their degree, what happens after that when they graduate?
Okay, once you have completed your degree through a Bachelor of Nursing through the University of Tasmania, all the requirements are completed and that information is sent to APRA, which is our registering body, which allows you to then work as a registered nurse in Australia. And it will allow you to work in your country if you apply and meet the requirements for registration in your own country, if that's what you choose to do. Now, just to say that I know that there are a number of students online from a number of countries, that if you are a registered nurse in Australia, your chances of obtaining employment outside Australia are extremely high because of the high level of expectation and of study that we expect you to do. If you are, once you finish and you have graduated and you are an international student, you can apply for a graduate visa and you can intend on staying in Australia, and you can complete your graduate employment. There are a number of RNs or registered nurses that I work with in my current employment on the weekends when I moonlight, that are international students, have undertaken their degree at University of Tasmania and have now stayed on and have graduate employment and have now decided to settle here in Tasmania with their family, which is just wonderful. So that they quite happily can do that, which is wonderful that you can stay in Australia and work.
That's great to hear, Anne-Marie. And I've heard some, even they're just in their last semester of their degrees, they are already receiving offers of employment even before they graduate. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is correct. That, as I've said during the a little bit, that a lot of our students, because they're allowed to work, if you're an international student, you are allowed to work, and a lot of our aged care facilities are very happy to have students working, or our hospitals also have undergraduate places for students to work as what we call assistants in nursing, and they're able to work that and then are offered new graduate positions in their final semester because they're highly regarded. So it's great to have that that offer before you actually complete your degree, which is wonderful for students to have.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you. Now,
Not a problem.
question is a very popular one. We receive a lot of inquiries about this from potential students overseas. The question is, can they complete the graduate certificate in nursing, overseas registration, and gain Australian registration? So can you please explain this one or give us more information regarding this course?
The graduate certificate in nursing, or the overseas registration, is a course that need to cover the H5-1 course, and is need to cover the sorry, I just just step back a minute. Students can undertake this. This is a graduate certificate in nursing, and can it be used for Australian registration? Well, at this moment, it is not used as Australian registration. You can expand it. This leads to professional recognition in your home country, but it's not in Australia. So in that sense that you can complete your grad cert in nursing or overseas registration, but it's not going to lead to actually lead to professional status in Australia. So unfortunately, that won't lead to that.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. We'll now proceed to the entry requirements for this course, which some of the questions already that I have seen are being asked, and this will answer some of the questions. So for entry requirements, and may I highlight that this webinar is all about for the Bachelor of Nursing. So the standard one for the 3 years and the accelerated one, which is 2 years. So it's the 2 years one is being offered in Hobart and in Sydney. And for the standard one, it's offered in Launceston. So the academic entry requirements for these courses, it's all the same. The minimum entry is advanced diploma or any university diploma level or above at university. And the English requirement, which is really important, we need to have an IELTS score of 7 in all of bands, or TOEFL with reading 25, listening 25, speaking 23, and writing 27. Or PTE academic, which is we will need 65 in all of bands. We do accept OET as well with a minimum score of B in each of the 4 components. So one of the questions a while back, they asked about the tuition fee. And it's per annual is 33,950. So that's for 100 credit points. So that will be different tuition fee for our accelerated one because they are having 3 semesters per year. So basically the tuition fee for the accelerated one would still be 3 years because it's being condensed into 2 years. And we do have the Tasmanian International Scholarship offering as well for high achievers. So they would need to have 75% of their GPA or B+ equivalent to be eligible for the 25% discount of their tuition fee for the whole duration of their degree. So that's pretty much our entry requirements for this course. And that ends our formal presentation. So we've got about, Anne-Marie, we've got about 20 questions in here that we'll have a look and see if there's, we could answer. Some I've already answered some of them while we were doing the presentation. So there's one question in here that all about the placement. So it's asking, can students from Nepal come back home and complete their placement? Also, can you share more information info on the placement in Nepal, like where, who will monitor them, in which semester, how it goes like?
No problem whatsoever.
No question.
Thank you. Namaste. So our students from Nepal, I have been to Nepal already once, India twice. The issues with Nepal, we can take a student over. They must be supervised by an Australian registered nurse to allow your registration to be allowed by our APRA board. So we would go over there for a placement within the time frame that we send our generally second year students. So we'd send them for a 3-week placement either at the beginning or towards the end of second year. As a requirement of the board here in Australia, your final placements are to be held in Australia only, but your second year placement can be overseas, but it must have an Australian registered nurse to supervise you. So for example, you would like to go, I've been to Kathmandu and I've also been to Nepal, that we can take you there and you can go there and you can undertake your placement there for one of your placements, but it must be supervised by a registered nurse from Australia. So you can't undertake all your placements and live in Nepal. You still would have to come back for your Australian placements.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. The next question is about the placement again, but that's just a follow-up. The question is, may I know when Bachelor students start to have actual experience with patients?
Okay, oh, that's great. We, in the second semester or the nursing study period 2, the students go out to placement for 2 weeks. And that is in a hospital, could be in community health, could be in aged care, could be in a GP practice, could be acute, could be chronic, could be in a variety of areas. Just to tell you from my own experience, I have a daughter that is undertaking this degree and she went to the cardiac catheter lab here in Launceston at the Calvary Private Hospital. So the students get a variety of placements, and yes, they will be doing with patients in the second session. So that would generally about around, they start in the January, in May, June, they'll be going out on placement with actual experiences, if that helps.
That's excellent. Thanks, Anne-Marie. A follow-up with that is all about the vaccination cost.
Yes.
So it says, is the vaccination cost included in the fee when a student goes before clinical practice?
No, that's not. We give the students, you will find though, ladies and gents, you will find that a lot of the vaccinations that you have had prior to coming to Australia, as long as you keep all your evidence, are great. You are required to have, we talk about hepatitis B, hepatitis A, DTPA, MMR, varicella. They are requirements that we are under the auspice of actually the Tasmanian or the New South Wales Department of Health, and they are set by them, and that's what allows you to go to clinical placement. Unfortunately, it is at a cost, and they ask for also some serology, which means that you have to get blood tests. There are some of the GP practices here in Launceston that charge no charge for students that are going to see the consult to see the medical officer or the doctor, but they will charge for your vaccination. They will not charge for your serology, and we advise you to go to those places. So we really try and help you as much as possible. We also have a vaccination nurse, and her job is to assist you with your vaccinations to make sure that you are compliant, as what we say, for your clinical placements.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Now, beside tuition fee and of course the vaccination fee, do you know if your daughter, probably we'll just use that as an example, if she has incurred other fees apart from those that we have already discussed, so uniforms or other related experience required for the course, is there any other expenses that?
No, well, no, not really. I must admit, she has got a placement just outside of Launceston, and we have paid for her accommodation, and the university is giving her some money towards her travel. Otherwise than that will be her textbooks. and her uniform and immunisations. You'll need a national police check, which you require when you are here, and you also need a working with vulnerable peoples check whilst you're working in Tasmania. So those are requirements as well. So those are also requirements that are set out by the Tasmanian Health Service. So once those are paid for, you are basically pretty well done with your costs, because your vaccinations will last generally to the end of your degree, depending on how long that your degree is. The only other costs would be a basic life support and manual handling, which are undertaken on a yearly basis, and they are also arranged through the university.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Now, with the current scenario due to COVID and border closure, how the classes will be scheduled or programmed for international students. So I know that our course is only offered face-to-face. Can you explain further about this situation?
Okay. I missed that last little bit.
Yeah,
There were
so
only
with the current, with the border closing, I know that
Yep.
we are only offering this course to international students who are in Australia and can attend their classes face to face. So can you please explain why we have to do the face-to-face class and it's not
okay.
online?
As you realise, thanks, Donna, nursing is a very practical skill. So therefore you must undertake your clinical skills, and that's what we're teaching within our nursing laboratories. So within those laboratories, students are being taught face-to-face with an academic standing in front of them who is a registered nurse from Australia, so that you are able to learn, practice, and undertake your clinical skills. So therefore you'll be able to apply that knowledge whilst you're on clinical placement. We do have other issues, well, not issues, we do maintain social distancing within the nursing laboratories, and we undertake all risk assessments prior to students coming into the laboratories. As you realise, Tasmania is COVID safe. We currently have not had a COVID case for a community transfer for some time now. But we are very important about student numbers in classrooms, and we are also important about the numbers of students on campus at any particular time. But there is nothing special in the sense of, once you meet those numbers, being an international student, you are not kept separate to our domestic students as such. But the classes are still scheduled in 2-hour lots, and we go through a specific cleaning requirements between each class. Students at times are required to wear masks within the nursing laboratories and full PPE, depending of the type of skill that they will be undertaking. So I'm hoping that assists with that type of question.
Thank you so much. Now, the next question is about the validity of their qualification internationally. So the question, if they can work such as countries in Europe or other countries as a nurse with this qualification?
Yes, you can. The only thing you will find is that you'll have to apply, once you have your registration here in Australia, you will have to apply to the board where you are going overseas. So that to make sure that you are meeting any of those requirements. The only one that you will have to do an exam for is the US, that often require you to do an exam to obtain registration in the United States. But working overseas internationally, your Australian registration will stand in extremely good stead. So anywhere in the UK, you have to apply for registration, and they want some information about the number of hours that you've done, a number of hours of your clinical placement, the areas of your clinical placement, and those can be given to you from the university if you choose. So it's a good idea to be thinking about doing some travel if you want to do some travel and work, especially around Europe, that you have the ability to take your degree and do that. If you travel into New Zealand, you can apply for registration, and we recognise registrations across from New Zealand to Australia and vice versa. So you will find that your registration will be fairly close to the requirements for many of those, or nearly all those countries in the US and Europe, but you will need to apply individually to their required registration boards.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Now, the next question is about the entry requirements. So please correct me if I'm wrong in here and add some more information. Nassif has asked if students who have done Diploma of Community Services or Certificate 3 in individual support in Australia, will they get any RPL? So we mentioned that the minimum entry requirements is advanced diploma. So if I'm correct, we don't provide RPLs for these certificates. Is that correct, Anne?
That's correct. But if they have a bachelor's, I think they had a bachelor's degree, we would look, but unless there is a bachelor's degree, then we would look at the units inside the bachelor's degree and then go and see if they match up to any of our units within the degree here. It is often quite difficult to match the units because they need to be very high. I will tell you, having my own daughter as well, she transferred, came from another university with a degree already, and she got, I think she got 2 units off, and that is it, with a full degree in criminal justice. I know it was a very different degree, but did a lot of sociology and psychology. So RPL is often difficult to match closely with your degree, unfortunately, or other certificates.
Okay, thank you so much, Anne-Marie. Now I'm very conscious of our time. We only have about 7 minutes till we wrap up with our webinar, and we've got some few more questions. So we'll take 2 more questions before we end. And this is a $1 million question, Anne-Marie, and
yep.
Donna, you can help. It says, what is the starting salary of a nurse graduate?
Oh, great. Yeah, sure. No drama. A first-year registered nurse in Australia they earn quite good money. They will earn quite good money. They will earn around about 70 to 80,000 Australian dollars. It's actually what it does, it's on your hourly rate, and depending on your shift penalties that you do, because you get penalties for working afternoon, night shift, weekends, etc. A first-year registered nurse would earn approximately $27, $28 per hour, up to $30 an hour, and then would have their shift penalties on top of that. Each year you get an incremental rise up until an 8th year, say an 8th year thereafter, which I currently sit at, and with that 8th year thereafter, you then are paid at a rate of around $45, $46 per hour, Australian dollars, and then your shift penalties on top of that. So a registered nurse who is an 8th year thereafter and works some weekends is bringing home approximately 2,600, 2,700 Australian dollars per fortnight.
Wow, that's
probably more than what you needed to know, but anyway, it just gives you a bit of an idea. Yeah.
That's great. How interesting is that? Now, the last question that we'll be discussing is about the intakes for the Bachelor of Nursing. So we only offer 1 intake per year, and that is July and February, sorry.
Thank you.
Offer July intake, unfortunately, also, or the semester 2 intake. So we are now open for applications for semester 1 2022 intake. And the first round of offer, please confirm this, Anne-Marie, if I'm right, is that the first round of offer, as this is a quarter course, so there is a scheduled rounds that we are doing. So it is likely that it will be May or June that will be issuing these offer letters.
That would be correct. Yep. So that's the intended date at this current moment. So and that will be the plan that we would do. So I'm hoping that we get lots of applications, and that it is quite competitive, because we offer something quite different to the students on the mainland. That is the real thing here, is that to undertake your degree in an accelerated mode is it's very good in that regard. Yeah.
Excellent. That's great. So before we wrap up, Marie, is there any final words that you would like to say to our audience today?
Look, as I said to you before, I've been nursing for like 38 years and have been an academic for 25 plus years. I would say that, look, I have nursed in 3 states of Australia, 3 countries overseas, and I can tell you that it is probably the most rewarding profession that I have ever thought that I would ever undertake. I've been able to change my position. I was a ward nurse through to a nurse educator, through to a nurse unit manager, to an assistant director of nursing, to an academic, and now to a course director. And I think, you know, if you ever had any career aspirations, this is one of those positions that you can do anything with. You can go anywhere with, and then, you know, to nearly have my PhD completed, it's, you know, it's not just a job you ladies and gents are going to do. This is a lifestyle that I just say to you, this is probably the best thing that I've ever done, and I really wish all of you as much luck and as much success as I have done. And I would just say to you, you know, yes, I'm from University of Tasmania, but this is my profession. And that's really what I want you to think about. This is your profession, and a profession of nursing is your profession that you will stand in good stead in any position that you ever go for. You are the most trusted profession of any other profession in the world. So I just wish you all good luck, and I really hope to see you all in the next few years, or if not next year.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for
No problem whatsoever.
wonderful presentation. We are so lucky to have you here for this webinar. So everyone, thank you so much for your participation today and all your questions. Unfortunately, we won't have time to address all of those, but we have our down on the screen. You can send us an email at yourstudy@utas.edu.au. We have our phone number in there as well. Feel free to give us a call if you want to find more about this course. So again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who are here today. Bye.
And what we say, see you later.
See you later.
See you later.
Bye.